on the night going into the 15th of Nisan, which this year it comes out to be Friday night, Shabbat, as we make the Seder Pesach. Jews have been doing this for 3,331 years. The first year they did it, they smeared blood on their doorposts on the inside. We don't do that nowadays. Don't try it at home. They also, the Jews, the first one, they sacrificed a Paschal lamb in their houses, and they ate it. After that, they never sacrificed the Paschal lamb again in their houses. They would do it in the temple, in the Mishkan, whatever. And the Jewish people made the Leil Seder Pesach. According to some opinions, they would eat the whole meal, and then at the end of the meal, they would eat the matzah. They ate a whole meal, and then the mitzvah of matzah they would eat at the end. They would make the meal with what's called matzah ashira. In any case, the idea of Passover is that we went to being servants and being affected by the world to be affected only by the creator of the world. And that's what all these things signify, that we suddenly became not just as physical people like slaves, or not just spiritual people like the Egyptians, but we became a godly people. The Egyptians were spiritual people. They're godly people. We became Hashem's people, serving Hashem. So that everything this night signifies that we left being normal and we started to be super normal, above normal. So that's what these three, we start off with the Seder, Loyal Pesach, the Seder. We first of all put 3 matzahs on the bottom, and then we put on top of that usually a cloth, and then on top of the cloth, it's a good idea to put a piece of plastic or something like that. And then on top of that, if you want to, you can put another cloth. Don't get the matzahs wet. That's the point. Don't get the matzahs wet. And you put an egg on the top left. You put an onion on the bottom left. Or some people put parsley. Some people put a potato. That's called the karpas. And then you put a chicken neck, a bone, on the top right. And you make the charoset, which is usually ground up nuts and apples and things like that, and a little wine. Put that on the bottom right. And then in the middle, you put moror, which is bitter herbs. The main thing with bitter herbs is lettuce. Lettuce is the main bitter herb, and you put into it a little bit of horseradish if you want to. And then in the bottom in the middle is also the same thing again, which that you're going to use for the sandwich, which we eat later on. This basically represents human personality. The 3 matzot on the bottom, that represents what's called Chachma Bina Dat, the 10 Sfirot, Chachma Bina Dat. The top 3, top triangle, that represents Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet. And the bottom 3, that's the Charoset and the Karpas, that represents Netzach Hod Yesod. The whole business, the whole thing, is Malchut, is the lowest aspect. That's a little bit of Kabbalah over there. So that's the order that you're supposed to put everything in. And now you have to know the order that you do everything in. Now this night we're going to drink 4 cups of wine. Very important that the wine is to be drunk on the order that it appears in the Haggadah of Pesach. The whole Seder of the Pesach begins with wine, you make Kiddush, and it ends with wine. There's wine for that you make the after the Hallel, after the whole business, drink the wine. So it begins, the first thing you do is drink wine, the last thing you do is that you drink wine. And in the middle, there's 2 more cups of wine. The second cup and the third cup. The second cup we pour immediately after we make Kiddush. Not immediately, you'll see. Right before the Manishtana. We pour the second cup, and the third cup is after we finish the meal, Birkat HaMazon. Each cup you drink, you have to lean over to your left. Lean over to your left. Each time you eat matzah, including the sandwich, you lean over to your left. Very important to lean over. It could be that according to the law, laws are a little bit complicated, that if you eat matzah, for instance, without leaning over, you have to eat matzah again. And same thing with drinking wine. If you drink wine, the first cup, you don't lean over, you have to do it again. You have to do it again with a blessing. With a blessing, you have to do it again. Anytime you drink wine, you don't lean over, you have to do it again. Question is, you have to do it. Okay, then before we make our plate, and then we say 15 things that are necessary that we're going to do tonight, the order of the night. Kadesh urchatz, karpas yachatz, magid rotza, motzi matzah, moro korech, shulchan orech, tzvon berach, halel nirtza. What do these things mean? This is the order of the night. First we make kiddush, then after that we wash our hands. We eat the karpas, which was the onion or the celery, what is it? Celery, the parsley. And by the way, the reason we eat the parsley is because just so the children ask. It doesn't really have any purpose. The only purpose is to arouse the curiosity of the children. Because this whole night is education for the children. First of all, we're all children. We were born on Pesach. Pesach is the birth of the Jewish people. We went out of being affected by the world and started be only connected only to the creator of the world. So we eat karpas. Also it says karpas is the first letters of Samach Perach, 60 hard work. 10,000 Jews, males, were at hard work in Egypt. Okay, whatever it is, that's rachatz. We wash our hands 3 times on each hand without making a blessing. Then we eat the karpas. Yachatz, we break the middle matzah and hide the biggest portion of it for the afikomen. We in Chabad do not hide the afikomen. We don't hide it. Everybody makes their own afikomen, and you keep it until the end of the night. Magid. Then on the second cup, we pour the second cup, and we make magid. We say, talk. We say the whole entire Haggadah. Then rachza, we wash our hands for eating the matzah. Then we make 2 blessings on the matzah. Motzi, matzah. Now this is a little bit tricky, but you can do it. You go and wash your hands, and after you make your hands, you wash your hands, you make a blessing. After that, you go back to the matzah, and you make 2 blessings. But the way we make the 2 blessings is as follows. We make the blessing on hamotzi, bruchata Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz, and we hold all 3 matzahs. Now, if you remember what I said 4 minutes ago, the middle matzah you broke and used the bigger piece for the afikomen. So you have 3 matzahs. You really don't have 3. You have 2.5. You have a whole one on the top, a whole one on the bottom. In the middle, you have a broken one. So you make hamotzi on the 2 whole ones with the middle one inside, and then you let the bottom one go, and you make asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav etzivanu al achilat matzah. You make on the top one and the broken middle one. Why? Because some opinions say that the blessing of matzah is on the broken one. Lechem oni. It's supposed to be poor bread. It means it has to be broken. So therefore we do both. Then we break off half of the top one, and we take that and the whole entire what's left of the middle one, and we lean over and we eat without talking. The reason we eat both of them is, as I said, some people say that the blessing for eating matzah has to be on a whole matzah, and some people say it has to be on a broken one. So we eat both of the pieces. It's supposed to be 2 kazayas. How big is a kazayas? You'll have to ask your rabbi about how big it is. If you have normal matzahs, round matzahs, usually it's about half of a matzah is a kazayas. About half. If you have small ones, then accordingly. Might be have to eat more than half. Motzi matzah. Then after you finish eating the matzah, leaning over, try to eat the whole thing in less than different opinions. Some people say, if I remember correctly, 7 minutes. I think some people even say 9 minutes, but 7 minutes, huh? 9 minutes. Some people say 9 minutes. Some people 7 minutes. Some people 6 minutes. Anyway, try to eat as fast as you can. Do not choke. Very important. You do not choke. That's not part of the night of the Seder. Look, choking is not part of the evening. Moror. After that, you eat the bitter herbs. You do not lean over, and you make a blessing. And you eat the moror. Again, you have to try to eat it within 9 minutes or 7 minutes or whatever. Don't talk when you're eating it. You are allowed to, yes, it's sometimes very, very bitter. So you're allowed to gasp, moan, complain a little bit. Oi. But it's actually fun because it's a mitzvah. Horseradish. But really, like I said before, the main moror is really the lettuce. We put the horseradish inside just to give us the feeling of bitterness. But according to the Mishnah, there's really like, why is that the main one? Because lettuce, if you start off, I used to have a big garden. Lettuce starts off as very sweet. When it's small, it's very sweet and it's good tasting. Right? It's not like sweet like sugar, but it's sweet. It's very good tasting. As it gets bigger and bigger, if you don't, then it gets bigger. It's bitter. And that's what was the service of the Jews, the bitter service of the Jews in Egypt. It started off very sweet, very nice, and then it started getting bitter and bitter and bitter. Avodah kasha. Then we have next korach. We take the bottom moror that we had, the bottom one, and we put it between two pieces of the bottom matzah, and we lean over and eat it. Also, try to do it within 7 minutes. But 9 minutes. Shulchan Aruch. You eat the meal of Yom Tov. You're allowed to drink wine in this meal if you want to. You were not supposed to drink extra wine before you start the meal. Tzafun. Then after that, last thing you eat is the afikomen. Then you make brichat hamazon berach. Then you pour another cup, and you say, you drink the cup, third cup. You pour another cup, and you say the big hallel. Big hallel. By now you're pretty inebriated. You should be in a good mood. Forget about it if you're tired. Try, if you can, to dance a little bit. Happy night. You have to remember, we are celebrating something that happened 3,000 years ago. Yes, it's true. We're also celebrating something that's happening right now. God is protecting us and taking us out of our troubles, and also taking us out of our limited consciousness. After all, we are celebrating God's holiday, no matter what level you're at. And especially we're celebrating the future redemption. That's what's signified by the cup of Eliyahu that's sitting on there. Nirtza. And afterwards we say Nirtza, we don't do anything, we just say, we hope that this was pleasing to you, God. That's the whole reason that we're here. All right, here we have some beautiful explanations about Man Nishtana Halayla Zer from the 5th Rebbe of Chabad. Nighttime. Why is this night different? Night represents exile, Jewish, how do you say, loss of Jewish consciousness, confusion. It says, what is this night different from all the other nights? It says, well, this night is different because this night we're going to go totally out of exile. Usually, all the other exiles that we're in, they didn't purify neither the body or the soul. And this will be twice we will, matbilim means immersing ourselves. Both our bodies and our souls will be purified to accept godliness. That's because we have Chassidut to learn. You don't appreciate how much you've changed in this, but how much Chassidut changes us. Because it happens to us totally, so it's hard to... And Chassidut also encourages you that you don't compare yourself to other people, or even to how you were. So it's a little bit hard sometimes, you learn Chassidut, to really appreciate how much it really, really changes us. So it's all the other time we eat chametz or matzah. Chametz is egotism, and matzah is surrender to God. Tonight we eat, well, it's a night of total surrender to the Creator of the universe. Only matzah. And Yerakot means jealousy. And all the other time of the year we're jealous for all sorts of stupid reasons. He has more money than me or whatever. And this night is going to be the greatest and only good type of jealousy, which is jealous of a person because he is spiritually higher than me, appreciating other people's highness and wishing we could be to that level. It's healthy jealousy. Because it says, Kino Sofrim Mar B'Chachma. Not that you hate the person or you hate the good trait that he has, but it's motivating. You're bitter, motivates you to do more. This is Dan Ben Chur. 1 second, Dan Ben Chur. Let me just answer this. I'll call you in 20 minutes, Bez Hashem, okay? They're here in my house. Oh, you're going to come? Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, good. Half hour. Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Rabbi Dan said he's going to come. Could be also because I said I'm going to pay him. Which I'm not. Yeah. Okay. So it says everyone is misubim. Misubim means leaning over. Leaning over signifies total surrender and pleasure in the creator of the universe. That's why it says that Yaakov laid down when he got to came to Eretz Israel, laid down. When he left Eretz Israel, I'm sorry. Okay, let's continue on. Yaakov is going to do his job, goes to sleep. Sleeping, going, in other words, he totally negated himself to creation, to Hashem. That's what the idea of leaning over is. That's also why we do it in the night of this Seder, is that we give up from our own stature, our own selfishness. We lean over a little bit. All right. What would you like to learn here? What would you like to learn? 4 cups. Let's do the 4 cups. We talked a little bit about the preparations. Chaf Aleph, we're on page 212. Every Jew has to drink 4 cups of wine this night. But it has to be 4 cups that you drink in the proper order. Like I said, you just can't drink 4 cups and that's it. Hakol chayevim b'dalet kosot. Everyone has to drink 4 cups. Echad anashim, echad nashim. Whether men, whether women. Afilu mi shesoni yain. Even a person who hates wine. Or a person that wine hates him. It does you bad. Chayev. We didn't learn this? Didn't we? I think it says, who was it? Rabbi Tarfon? I forgot. He used to have to tie his head up for 50 days from the pain, the headache that he had from drinking wine on Pesach. That's one headache, boy. I mean, that's a nasty headache, 50-day headache. Woo. Everyone has to drink 4 cups, whether men, women, even a person that hates wine, or a person that wine hurts him. That's why you have to push yourself to drink 4 cups of wine. If you mamish can't do it, you can drink grape juice, but it's not going to mean it's really going to just put you out, old people. But you should at least mix a little bit of wine in it. Afilu oni,
There's a mention of how the size of the cup.
The cup, the minimum of the cup, it says it has to be, 86 grams. 86 grams is pretty small. 86 grams, usually I think these cups that they have here are 100 grams. These cups, 1 second.
100 grams or 100 milliliters?
I think it's the same thing. I think that a square millimeter of water is 1 gram of water. So this thing I think is 100 grams, huh? 100? Oh, it's 180. This is 180 cc. 180 cc, right. So it's about half of this, right? Half. Actually, a little less than half. Oh, wait, let's say half. 86, right? Half. So it's about that much. Pretty small. So that's what you have to drink. If you have old people and things like this, they can't do it, so it's permissible for them to drink grape juice. And even more, if it's pure grape juice, you have to watch out. If it's matzah, the Chassidim had this very strange law, but it's really pretty firmly based in halacha, that they do not dip or put spreads or put in contact their matzahs with anything that might have water in it. So the law is like this. It's a very strange law that if you mix wheat, flour, pure flour, with any sort of fruit juices, it will not become chametz. It doesn't raise up. Fruit juice doesn't. But if you put a little bit of water in with the fruit juice, then it's worse than if you put water alone. Nevertheless, one of the worst sins in Judaism is to eat chametz on Pesach. It's one of the worst sins in Judaism. The punishment is like the same for eating on Yom Kippur or Chorus. It's called Chorus, getting cut off. So it's a very, very big sin to eat chametz. What is chametz? What is this chametz got inside of it? It has some sort of idolatry or some sort of a forbidden substance? Absolutely nothing. It's water and flour. That's all it is. But you just let it sit for a while and it rose up a little bit. That's called chametz. So the law is that if you have, let's say, a big matzah, and if that matzah was not cooked 100%, wasn't cooked 100%, shalom, it wasn't cooked 100%, and it had a little speck of flour in it that was uncooked, and you dip your matzah into your soup, your chicken soup, and that little fleck of flour touches water, that's chametz. Now you can say, come on. First of all, the chances of that happening are, first of all, the 18-minute is only regular temperature. If it's hot, not. It's hot. If it's hot, then it becomes chametz before that. And not only that, there's a pretty good chance that if you put it into the, your soup, it could be that little fleck will just stay there 18 minutes. Could be. Okay, now you say, come on, the chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. It's 1,000,000 to 1. And not only that, even if it does happen, that little speck is only 1/1,000,000th of the whole matzah. Well, the fact of the matter is that if you have a whole cholent that was 1,000,000 gallons of cholent for the Israeli army, right? The Israeli army has just defeated all of their forces. They're making the enemies around them. All the enemies automatically surrounded, and we're making a big, amazing Pesach Thanksgiving meal for this amazing miracle that we defeated all our enemies, and not one drop of blood was spilled. And one person was there with the cholent, looks around, and takes a little fleck of chametz and throws it into 1,000,000 gallons of cholent. The whole thing is forbidden. On Pesach. It's forbidden 1,000,000 to 1, it's forbidden 1,000,000,000 to 1. It's forbidden. If you know for sure that there's chametz there, the whole thing cannot be eaten. That's the law. Doesn't make any sense. But on the other hand, nothing in Judaism really makes sense if you think about it. I mean, that God really cares, that I put on tefillin, God really cares. What does he care? But the fact is he does care. And one of the things that he cares about is that Jews should not eat chametz on Pesach. And they explain the reason that chametz signifies false egotism. False egotism. And for a person that's just beginning, that's poison. That's poison. False egotism, a person cannot be an egotist. If you want to come and learn, you want to be a soldier in the army in the beginning, you can't express your opinions. If you want to go into university and you want to learn, you want to start expressing your opinions the way things should be done. Go to another university. A person just the first day on the job, he can't start all of a sudden giving people orders. That's what's called false egotism. So in the beginning, egotism is a very bad thing. You have to, and Pesach is the beginning. Afterwards, a person can be, can take responsibility, can give orders. So that's what Chometz is. So because Pesach is the beginning of going out of Egypt, so you have to be very careful what a baby eats. You have to be very, very careful. There can't be even a fleck of Chometz. So therefore, we are careful with matzah not to put it near water or anything that might have water in it. That it could be that it will activate this 1/1,000,000th of water. Okay, now you have to drink 4 cups, right? That's what we said. For even the poor person, that he hasn't got what to eat, he has to sell, or at least, pawn off his clothes. Of course, not to come to the night of the Seder naked. This is all definitely not our custom. But if you, to sell all the rest of your clothes, so that all you have is one piece of normal clothes, to buy wine, do it. You have to do it. 4 cups is very important to drink. Even though it's only something from the rabbis, these 4 cups. Right? The 4 cups is only from the rabbis, not from the Torah. You don't have to drink 4 cups. There's hints at the Torah. From the Torah, you only have to eat matzah. Children, what about little children? The whole night of Seder Pesach is for these little children. Children that reach the age of education, their father has to educate them in mitzvahs, give them 4 cups. And the 4 cups have to be drunk on the order. Little children, they like the grape juice or whatever you give them. So it has to be 1 cup is on the Kiddush is on the 1st cup, the Haggadah is on the 2nd cup, Brichas HaMazon on the 3rd, and the big Hallel on the 4th, like we just explained. When you drink these cups, you have to drink them in the proper order. We also said this. If you do not separate between 1 cup and another, you just drink one immediately after all 4 cups, it counts for 1 cup. Right? You decide you're going to do all the 4 cups at one time, save a little time, drink all the 4 cups. Also, nobody will steal your bottle from you in the middle. Well, you don't have to hide it. So you pour all the 4 cups, drink them all at one time. You did a good thing for the 1st cup, but you have to do 3 more cups again. And I hope you didn't make a blessing between each one of those, because so it says, how big is it? 3 ounces and 16 grains. Grains, who counts grains, but that's it. Okay. Okay, let's say you have a choice. Either you can get yourself, right, they're selling Kiddush cups, special for Pesach. One is solid silver. It's this big, right? It's this big. I think it's solid silver. How much does it cost? $100. Then they have one that is half the size, solid silver, same price. Which one should you buy? Well, if you can drink this whole one all the way down to the end, then buy the big one. It's a good deal. But if you can't drink it all the way down to the end, all you can drink is a revis, but you just want to get a good deal, so buy the small one. It's better to finish the cup than to drink only half of a big cup, even though it might end up you're drinking more. But it's better to finish the cup. Of course, the cup has to be as big as a revis. But whatever cup you take, you should try to drink the whole thing. Try to finish off each of the 4 cups. Okay. Now this year you have to remember that it's going to be Shabbos. So because it is Shabbos, there's certain things you cannot do. It says that you're not supposed to mix up, and some people have for the water that they dip the egg in and they dip this. You salt water. You should try to make it before Shabbat. And if you make it on Shabbos, put only a little bit of salt in it. Because too much salt, it's forbidden to make a mixture that's very concentrated salt. It's like tanning. It's called tanning. Preparation for tanning, which is forbidden on Shabbos. This year, of course, yes. Also this year, you're not going to be able to take the candles to the door to say Shvach HaMascha. Because it's Shabbos. Can't touch fire. Can't have fire. Also, this Pesach, you cannot light the Pesach candles, your wife, after Pesach comes in. A lot of women, they get really busy, so they just light a candle, and then on Pesach, they take from this candle and they light, which is permissible to do. They light their candles. But you can't do it this Shabbos because it's this Pesach, because it comes out on Shabbos. So you have to light the candles first. Okay. How do we grab the cup? Oh, when we make Kiddush. First of all, our custom is to make Kiddush standing up. And you lift the cup up more than 3 tefachim. 3 tefachim is 1, 2, 3. So lift it about that high. 3 tefachim is pretty high. Look at this. Here you go. You see this is? 1, 2, 3. So it's that far from the ground. Right? So it's about that far from the ground. From the table. The table. So that's how you should lift up the cup that high, 3 tefachim. Some people put the cup in the opposite of their heart, but the main thing is you have to lift it up. The way we make Kiddush and we hold the cup is put the cup in the palm of your hand, lift up your fingers and your thumb so it's all touching. Some people put their thumb like this, but all 5 fingers are touching the cup. That's how we do it in Chabad. Okay. How do you do it? You fill the cup up first, then you take it with your right hand, give it to your left hand, and then your left hand puts it down on your right. So you fill up the cup like this, your right hand, give it to your left hand, the left hand then puts it.
Somebody else fill the cup for you?
You can do it. We don't do it necessarily. You can do it if you want to, but we don't. It says that you're supposed to do a cherus. This was a way of freedom. Oh, wait, when you start to make the Kiddush with Shabbos and Yom Tov, put your eyes, first of all, look at the candles. Look at the candles first, in the beginning, and when you make the blessing of the Kiddush, right, Baruch Atah, you look at the cup. So when you start the Kiddush, you look at the candles, and then the rest of it, you look at the cup. On Shabbos, we begin Shabbos Pesach. Okay, Herschel. Yom HaShishi Vayechulu Hashamayim. That's good enough for us. That's what we have to do. That's what we're going to do this year. The custom is that the father makes Kiddush and exempts everyone on every Shabbos and on Yom Tov. But the young boys, if they want to, they can make Kiddush on their own. That's become a custom in Chabad also, that even young people, that they eat at a table. A father, said the Yeshiva, a father has 10 children, right? So they all make Kiddush on their own. All the kids make Kiddush on their own. Usually when they're 13 and older. Some want to even make it before that. They make Kiddush on their own. But usually before bar mitzvahs, they listen to their father's Kiddush. All right, also the women and the girls, they have to drink. Now, it's a very interesting law. And the rest of the year in Shabbat, everyone drinks from the cup of wine that you make Kiddush. But that the law is, you don't have to do that. The law is that one person makes Kiddush and someone, not even that person who made the Kiddush, someone of the guests or the people sitting around the table, some male, has to drink it. Has to drink it. So you can make Kiddush and you don't even have to drink it. That's the rest of the year. But Passover, it's not that way. Everyone has to drink 4 cups. So the women have to drink 4 total cups of wine. The custom is the women do not lean over. But if they want to, they can. But they we make also a bracha of shehechianu. The women who make a shehechianu, when they light the candles, which they do, so they should be careful that when they drink the first cup of wine, they do not make shehechianu, because they already made it. And the shehechianu refers to the thanking God for the holiday. Okay, what happens if a person forgot to make Havdalah in Kiddush? There's always going to be someone like that, right? You make Kiddush, everything's that people are tired. I just want to say again, it's very, very important that the night of the Seder of Pesach, everybody is happy. A lot of times people go into the night of Seder of Pesach and they worked really hard, they didn't really sleep long, and they can't find the matzah, and they open up the box and the matzah is broken, and they put the wine down, the bottle falls down or something like that, and you get aggravated. You work so hard, the whole thing, and nobody appreciates it either, and nobody seems to help. And so all these stupid reasons that people have, and they come into the holiday and they're miserable, and they're all angry, and it's exactly the opposite. They forget the whole big thing. It's like, getting angry at your daughter's wedding. Let's say you have an ugly, stupid daughter, and she gets married to a wonderful person, and then you're angry because the florist didn't put the flowers on the table properly or something. Ridiculous. But that's what people are. That's what people are. I know people at the wedding, and the father of the bride, or the father of the groom, he cannot be happy. He refuses to dance. Why? Because the other side, they didn't want to pay for the refrigerator. He had to pay for the refrigerator. Right? They made an agreement, and the other side doesn't want to pay for the refrigerator. How much does the refrigerator cost? $500. He would pay $500 for a psychiatrist to make him happy. Right? But people don't think straight. They don't think straight. They think of little, tiny, stupid things. And a lot of times the things that they're mad about are imaginary anyway. Right? He wrecks the whole entire night, and he's all miserable in this. And after the week, his wife says, I found the agreement that you made with the other side. Here, you agreed you're going to pay for the refrigerator. What? Let me see that. So he wrecked the whole wedding. He wrecked this whole mood for absolutely nothing. It was all imaginary. That's why people live their whole lives that way. And people live their whole lives like that. They hate their father because their father, once he said good morning to his father, and his father didn't say good morning. And then his father had a toothache that day or something like that. And this wrecks the whole guy's life. War with the world,
There was a book that I read by Rabbi Bolton, I think. He talks about women who do their spring cleaning to prepare for Pesach. And he said, the women, they don't have to do dirt is not
The Rebbe once said to somebody.
Dirt is not hummus.
The lady said to the Rebbe, my family, they don't help me out for Pesach. The Rebbe said, you have to know that dirt is not chametz, and that your children are not servants of Paro. What is it? Something like that. No, servants are not avadim. Okay. What if you start the night of the Seder, like this night, right? And you forgot to make Kiddush. You forgot. You didn't know.
You got directions.
The most of the times when you say the Haggadah, you don't say, I'm sorry, you're right, 100%. No, this is talking about something else. This is talking about Pesach falls on Motzi Shabbos, and you should have made, it says, Shechach lahavdil. I didn't see the word, I'm sorry. Very good. Huh? Yeah. Okay, leaning over. Every time you drink wine, every time you eat matzah, you have to lean over to the left. A son, we're on page 216. A son that eats by his father has to lean over. But a pupil that eats by his rabbi, he is not allowed to lean over unless the rabbi gives him permission. He has to say, can I lean over? The rabbi says yes. You're supposed to show fear in front of you. Lean over on the left side. If you do it backwards or on the right side, you're not good. Women, our custom is women do not lean over when they drink. They rely on the opinion that nowadays it's not necessary. There's one opinion that says nobody does it. Nobody leans over. So they rely on this opinion. Okay, then we do that. So we did Kaddish. That's the first thing. We did Kaddish. We made the first, when we Kaddish Urachatz. We made Kiddush. After you make Kiddush, and you lean over, of course, when you drink, then we do what's after Kiddush? Kadesh urachatz. What's rachatz mean? That we wash our hands for bread. But it's not really bread. We're not eating bread. What are we eating? We're eating the karpas. So you wash your hands exactly like you would wash your hands for bread, but you do not make a blessing. Then you sit down and you take less than a kazayas of the onion or the potato or what do you have, less than a kazayas. So you don't have to make an after blessing. You don't get into the question of making an after blessing. You dip it in the salt water and you make a blessing brei pri ha'adama. And you eat it, not leaning over. The only time you lean over is when you drink wine and eat the matzah. That's the only time. There are opinions that say that you should lean over the whole entire meal. But we don't do that. To show the whole thing is in a way of freedom. So you wash exactly like you wash for bread, but you don't make a blessing on that, on the washing of the hands, but you do make a blessing on the adama that you eat, on the karpas. Okay, so that the karpas, we said the karpas. You take less than a kazayas of it and eat it. Next, yachatz. Like I said before, yachatz means you break the middle matzah and you hide the bigger piece of it for the afikomen. There was a custom in Chabad that was begun, at least visibly, by the fifth Rebbe of Chabad, that he would take this big piece of matzah that he was going to make for the afikomen and break it again into 5 smaller pieces. Something according to Kabbalah. Again, you take, what is this? You take the middle matzah, there's 3 matzahs, the middle matzah, you break it into half. The bigger piece you break again into 5 pieces. You put it in a bag and you put it on the side. A bag, a cloth. Right, we don't do that. I mean, if the children want to steal the afikomen because they get a kick out of it, because you have to remember that the whole night is the night of educating the children. That's why it says that you should not take a long time davening. You should start the meal as soon as possible, and so the children won't go to sleep. Because it's very important. This is the night of the children. It says you give the children nuts and things like that to play with, right, so that they stay awake. You have to keep them. What?
You have to say the whole hour after Mark.
Yeah, okay, good. You say the whole. Not that long. You say the whole hour. How long? Much longer. But you do it in a happy way. All right, now we have yachatz. Kadesh, urachatz, karpas, yachatz. Magid. You pour the second cup and you start saying the Haggadah of Pesach. Say the Haggadah of Pesach, and before that you pour the second cup, right? You pour, and you should try to say the whole Haggadah of Pesach with a loud voice, not screaming, of course, but loud voice, and happy. Be happy. Before you say, Hey Lach Ma'anya, the Akhla Avasana, before you say, Hey Lach Ma'anya, as you you reveal the matzah a little bit. But our custom is not to lift up the plate. You want to lift it up, but it's not our custom. After you say, Hey Lach Ma'anya, you cover the plate back. And also because the child will ask, what's going on? I mean, this is a meal. Why are you reveal the bread, now you put the bread away? I don't understand. You make kiddush, eat the bread. What's going on? Then the child asks, you pour the second cup, you say, Hey Lachmanya, and then you pour the second cup, and you say, Ma nishtana halayla zeh. You pour the second cup. Now, usually before you pour a cup of wine, you should wash out the cup, but here you don't have to wash out the cup. Because what's the worry? Maybe there's a little bit of bread or something like that. There's nothing in. You just made Kiddush 10 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, right? One paragraph ago. After you say Manishtana, the Rebbes of Chabad used to say it on their own. Each one would say it on their own. Tatach will doch by the fragrant Akasha. Father, I want to ask, they would say it in Yiddish. After say Manishtana, you put the plate back. Pull the whole entire plate that you've got. You reveal the bread. You reveal the matzah. And you start to say the Haggadah. You're answering now the questions. Right? What are the questions? In Chabad, the order of the questions is a little bit different than everybody else. But the questions are the same. Everybody asks. The first question we ask is, Manishtana, why, in general, why is this night different from all the other nights? Why is it that tonight that we dip? Why is it tonight we eat matzah? Why is it tonight that we eat bitter herbs? And why is it tonight that we lean over? That's basically the questions. So now we start to give the answer. He sha'amda. He sha'amda la v'seinu v'lanu shelo yechad bilvad. Amar aleinu l'chalaseinu. He sha'amda. He is Hey are the 5 books of the Torah, Yud the 10 utterances, 10 commandments, and Aleph is the oneness of God. This is what stood for us through the generations. Probably all the generations people are standing up against us to kill us. And God is saving us, saved us. And He'll continue to do the same thing now. Very important. Very, 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 very important message. This is the basis of the Jewish people. Unfortunately, up to now, up to this moment, but it's going to change, I hope, immediately, it is not the basis of the Jewish state of Israel. The Jewish state of Israel is we do the whole thing ourselves. The basis of Judaism is we must be partners with Hashem. Hashem does everything, but He wants partners. He wants us to do our part also. So He says, He Shamda, that's it, the Torah. The Torah is what has saved the Jews for all the generations. That's what's given us power. Then we continue in the Leil Seder Pesach. And then there are what's called, getting near to the end of it, we talk about the 10 plagues. Each time we say the 10 plagues, you get a broken vessel and you pour a little bit from your cup of wine, a little tiny bit, into this broken vessel. It's near the end already. I advise you very strongly that before the night of Pesach, that you sit down with a Haggadah and you go over it and you look at it in English. What basically it is, it brings down a few sentences that talk about the Jews leaving Egypt, and it explains them. The whole entire Haggadah is just explaining these sentences. Something like a Gemara. And explains the sentences. It's very beautiful. It's very deep. It's very meaningful. And it's very necessary because the Jews want to forget, like I say, and I don't want to harp on this, and I don't harp on it, but I'll have to give it a big mention. There's this big thing that now we're in Israel, so we don't need the commandments, and we don't need God. We have our army. We don't need God, and we don't need the Torah. We have like our own constitution, and we don't have this. I mean, these are ideas that seem to be pretty logical, but unfortunately, that's not the essence of the Jewish people. The essence of the Jewish people is God. And as much as people don't want to admit it, and as much as they don't like it, especially in the state of Israel, which was basically founded to show the world how we get along we're not like any different from anybody else. We don't need God. We don't talk every minute about God taking us out of Egypt. And we're down to earth, practical people. We do it ourselves. We don't need any crutches. We don't need any of this. But the fact of the matter is that God is not a crutch. For some people it could be that He is. But God's a partner. And He wants us He creates us. He creates us for free. So that's not a crutch. He creates our legs, creates our arms. But he wants us to be partners with him. That's the whole idea of Pesach. Like we said before, Shlach et ami v'yavduni. So that's the 10 plague. God gave the 10 plagues. He did it, yes, but the reason he did it was so that to set us free from Egypt and that we should serve him. Then we say matzah zu, morah zu. Each time we say matzah zu, you touch the matzah, you touch the morah, and then you take your hand away. Then you say lefichach. Right at the end of the Agada, you say lefichach anachnu chayavim lahodos lahalel. You pick up the cup. Most of the whole Seder, you're not holding the cup the whole time. The whole Haggadah. You don't hold the cup. You don't. Yeah, you don't hold it. Right at the end, when it says Lefichach anachnu chayavim, right, the last paragraph, you cover over the matzah because the whole Seder Pesach is supposed to be said with the matzah revealed. The whole Haggadah is said with the matzah revealed, but the cup is down. You put the cover over the matzahs. Right at this last paragraph, you pick up the cup, you say, Lefichach, Asher Go'aleinu, and you make a bracha to Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, Borei pri hagafen, and you drink it. That's the fourth cup. You said it after the Agada. Then you do what I said before. So what have we done up to now? What have we done? We've come to the table, we made Kiddush, we washed our hands like for bread. We didn't make a blessing, and we ate the karpas. And then after that, we poured the second cup, and we started saying the Haggadah. We said the whole Haggadah on the matzah, uncovered the matzah. And then we came to the last blessing of the Haggadah, right, the lefichach, you'll see. Then at that point, we lift the cup up again, and we drink it, make the flambe, and we drink it. So that's after the Haggadah, we make another blessing. Okay, then we go and we'll wash our hands. And we did the big mitzvah of the night, we eat matzah. I told you how to do it, right? Eating the matzah. You sit down, you make two blessings. First you say, first blessing is, Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Then you let the bottom matzah drop. And you make alachilas matzah on the top matzah and the middle one. The middle one is the broken one. And then you eat two kazaises, the top, half of the top and the whole entire middle matzah. Don't talk. Our custom is very important. Do not talk from the time you wash your hands until you finish eating the korach.
Is it also to put 3 matzahs in front of each man?
Everybody has their own plate, yeah. Everyone has their own plate. It's not that the father doesn't do it for everybody. What?
If we're going to eat the minimum amount,
right.
Everybody needs their own matzah.
Right. Here he says, you must eat the matzah within 4 minutes. 4 minutes. The 9 minutes is only for old people that have no teeth or something. Or people that like you have to force to eat matzah, right? They don't want to eat matzah. You just try to force it within 9 minutes. Hello. And then after that, and you lean over when you eat the matzah. All the matzah, you lean over. Even when you make the sandwich, you lean over. This is also my book.
This is my book.
Wonderful. And then you eat the moror. Moror, you do not lean over. And then you make the sandwich, and you lean over, and then you make the... And I talked to you about the matzah shruya, and then you make the afikomen, you eat the afikomen, you lean over also. And that's where we're holding right now. We did all these up to the afikomen. Good.
We want to talk about the preparations for the Pesach, right?
I'm going to go to sleep, but I'll bring in this first.
The vessels.
Are you're recording it?
No, never. Maybe after Pesach. Maybe after Pesach.